Okay, I found the quotation here. The gentle mastery of Christ. Come to me, all you who labor and are burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am meek and humble of heart, and you will find rest for yourselves. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. And so on this sculpture here, what I have is Christ almost pronouncing that in a triumphant gesture, with saints from all different aspects of history carrying the cross, the symbol of the yoke. It was very difficult to create these saints with their faces. The saints were picked specifically ones that had lives of suffering, like St. Maximilian Kolbe, like Matt Talbot. And what I created here was a pleasant look on their face as they're lightly carrying this cross forward here. Christ is looking very, very triumphant with his hands up. The gesture of his face is uplifting. The whole piece was done very spontaneous. At this scale here, it needs to be almost impressionistically created. I worked the faces till I got the right feel on them. What I like about it is the mix of scale too. As you can see that the Christ figure is predominantly larger than the other saints. And this kind of goes back to the medieval heritage of mixing a Mary or a Christ figure with smaller saints or patrons of the church there. The lightness is achieved not only by the beautiful abstract striations, but also, as you can see, the saints are just almost touching, in many respects, this cross, which is pretty large here. I love the general shape of it. I had the cross, first of all, thinking it'd be very, very horizontal, but by bringing the back end of the cross up, the Christ figure is revealed in a better composition. The striations on the bottom makes me put a small saint like Mother Teresa or Pope John Paul II raised up, so it works as an abstract, but also as a very realistic piece here. This sculpture, it's a perfect size. Any bigger, it would just become almost huge. It has a real sense of creation to it. And that's what I like about pieces this size, is you're always aware that it's a creation. Also, the details and the concerns, I had quite a bit of photographs of the saints. Here is a Saint Gianna Beretta Mola, and a lot of photographs of her. Same with St. Maximilian Kolbe, Mother Teresa, obviously, and Pope John Paul II. Let's just go from each saint if we can. Blessed Katyra Tekakwitha, I wanted to show her scars of her pockmarks there. She's in a traditional garb of the Indian. There's only one etching that was done near her period of time, I think right after her death, which showed her in costume pretty much exactly like that. Matt Talbot, although we have only one photograph of this Dubliner, we do have a face that is pretty close to this one with the bushy mustache. Talking to some of the priests in Ireland, where I did a large Matt Talbot piece, actually two Matt Talbot sculptures in Dublin, there's a real desire to have him in his work clothes, and so I just have him in the simple work clothes. But the beautiful thing about Matt Talbot here is, if you can see here, there's chains. Now Matt Talbot, for most of his life after he converted, wore these heavy chains beneath his clothing. And you can see that some of them are being revealed just as almost the breeze brushes the work coat past, and you can see the heaviness of the chains revealed behind the drapery there. And what could I do other than capture some sort of likeness on Saint Beretta Mola? And a lot of depictions of more modern saints or modern religious people. You got to kind of pick and choose which images you want to work with. Look at Mother Teresa, for instance. She looks like a completely different woman in 5 different photographs. So the purpose of an artist is to blend and get a sense and a feel for that saint through all the photographs that he can come to, then to create a final piece. So I like the look of her face. She looks excited, and she's carrying the cross. Matt Talbot, he's a heavy worker. He's used to carrying stuff, but here you can see the lightened brow and a little bit of a smile on his face. It's very difficult to do sculptures that are smiling, or saints that are smiling. You don't want the piece to become goofy. But with the subtleness of all these, I created a spirit, an uplifting spirit, although they're not on the verge of laughing here. Christ too, as you can see, the eyes and the gesture of the mouth is done very, very spontaneous, which keeps some freshness to the piece. And then Pope John Paul II, there's only one way of depicting him, I thought, for this piece, and that was to have him, as you can see, with a hunched back in his older age, to kind of show his burden that he carried as well. This piece here is one of the emblematic pieces of Catholic sculpture that I absolutely love doing, simply because you have so much heritage, so much history, so many little stories within one larger piece coming together to really create, I think, a great work of art.